Are you ready?
Yes.
In 50 years, I want to be a man who has lived a life in surrender to Christ and who has inspired others to do the same.
In 50 years, I hope to have transformed the way that our society views the church.
In 50 years, I want to have designed something that the world has never seen before.
I would like to have revolutionized the world's access to energy.
I hope to have been a part of reforming our current food assistance system in hopes of alleviating food insecurity.
I'd like to be an accomplished professor of language and literature.
In 50 years, I plan to have been a successful chiropractor helping people live healthy lives, and then eventually I want to help plan and pastor a local church.
In 50 years, I want to grow the way that churches do discipleship and ministry.
In 50 years, I would like to be a hero, a voice, and an inspiration to those who are at disadvantage through education and mentorship.
I want to be a retired nurse practitioner with 10 grandkids.
I want to have empowered children to reach their fullest potential, and I want to have empowered teachers to stand up for the souls that have been entrusted to their care. I want to see children become community leaders and world changers.
In 50 years, I want to be able to look back on my life and feel confident that I brought everyone that I came into contact with closer to heaven.
I deeply desire to live in a way that could inspire other people to go back to asking the question, what would it mean to take Jesus seriously?
So I think if we can change the way that we act as a church, people can feel more comfortable in approaching us. And in that way we can share the gospel with them, which is the greatest hope that I have in my life. And the joy that God has brought to my life, I hope that I can share that with other people.
It is a daunting issue because will you ever be able to feed every single person that's hungry? Probably not. I think it's worth it to see, try different things and see what we can do.
The thing that makes literature such an important art form is the universality of it, the ability to touch and change lives through the messages they convey.
When our cities are expanding and we're using up energy in all sorts of different ways, I definitely have a concern for the environment and how we're treating the world around us, because I want to make sure that my kids and generations beyond us are able to access these same really cool places.
I love engineering. I love the challenge. I love being able to understand it and how things work. And I mainly want to do the infrastructure side. I want to be able to design buildings and see what different shapes, how buildings turn out. Infrastructure is just very fascinating to me.
I want to give back to the artistic community. I want to have contributed something. I want to allow others to think outside the box and maybe create their own things as well.
You're not compromising who you are, you're not compromising your values or your ethics when you're teaching literature. You're sort of putting those ethics out there on display and then sort of using those ethics to help mold the next generation, teach them how to approach literature, why literature is important, and just sort of how to go forward.
I do want to be able to assist in bringing another healthy church into the world that can bring people closer to Jesus, have their affections stirred towards Him, because that's always going to be the end goal.
Paul says in Philippians 3:8 that everything is worthless compared with the infinite knowledge of knowing Christ, and that verse steers a lot of things in my life.
For me, in God, I find refuge and I find peace, and I find He's the one person that I can trust in. And I hope that as a church we can be that to the world. If we can reflect who God is to us, to other people, I think that we can be able to have a relationship with them and share the gospel with them.
I really, really deeply believe that any Christian is called to ministry. And so for me, looking into and researching and understanding organizational behavior and understanding how to lead well really plays into the goal of how do we mobilize this massive population of people towards true action.
As believers, I believe that we have been commanded to seek justice and to encourage the oppressed and to defend the fatherless and plead the case of the widow. And I think that those are very much realities in the world that we're in. And I think that a lot of children are entering into classrooms with the weight of those realities on their shoulders.
In my first grade, the classroom had no windows, no doors. We just sat on blocks, cement blocks, and the teacher just taught us whatever she had, and we still learned different things. All those things caught my attention, like where we were sitting, and then the science has been like the field that really attracts my attention. And that has kind of pushed me towards the math, the science, try to understand it. And also the mindset in the community that girls couldn't do certain things, it did give me a push.
I think as someone who has both been able to participate in church and also be able to serve in a variety of different ways, I have seen the ways that the church has already grown in my lifetime, and I would love to be able to be a part of that and just help us to continue to become better followers of Christ.
My mom actually passed away when I was 15, and that has shaped and molded me in so many ways, of course. Like, when a parent passes away when you're that young, that's just a big deal. And so I got really serious about my faith, like in that time. It was a little shaky, but I got serious around the end of my junior year, right after I turned 17. And just knowing her perspective on those kinds of things and how she lived, I knew that that was important to her, so it became important to me as well.
My mom, before she has Crohn's disease, so before that she was a nurse, and I'm always a mama's boy. Like, I'm not a bad mama's boy, but I always love like being around my mom and protecting her and stuff like that. So like my big brother took the path of an engineer like my dad, and I kind of followed after my mom in the nursing field, and I just like helping and serving others. So it's kind of a good feeling, like putting a smile on people's patients' face when they're sick, and just able to crack a joke here every now and then, just to keep it a light mood. So it just made me feel better.
When I hear like high school, that's where you start hearing more of that, like girls do this, like they don't. But I'm like, but I like math and I like physics, and these things really do come natural to me. Like they make sense. So I want to be able to use what I understand, what I'm able to understand, and be a role model to other girls, like, hey, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
I grew up in a home with domestic abuse and all of that, so I hope that the churches can welcome people who have been through hard stuff like that, and that they can be equipped to help them and show them the joy that it is to know God. And I know for me that it transformed my life.
Yes, as a teacher, it's going to be my job to teach science and social studies and language arts and math and all of those content things, but I believe that it's also my job to be a light in the darkness that they might be experiencing. I want to help them discover their voice, to be a listening ear when they need it, and to help them understand what their worth and their value is. And I think it matters to me because God says it matters.
I'm a third generation student at ACU. My grandparents attended ACU and my parents met here. And so there was, I'd always known about ACU.
Honestly, ACU chose me.
ACU was never on my radar. I wasn't planning on going to ACU. I was actually going to go to another Christian school, but my mom said, hey, just check out ACU.
I was really focused on making sure that I went to a Christian school and that I went to a small school and somewhere that was focused on physics. And that's really what I got here.
That was a miracle because, first of all, I never checked my email in high school.
I actually found it on FastWeb and through all of the promotional emails that they sent you through the PSAT.
I never really had any friends outside of my race, just because there was no one else there. So I was like, I want to move and go somewhere different.
So I grew up in the church. I always knew that I wanted to be at a Christian university. ACU really just drew me in with the way that I saw people engaging each other on campus. I loved getting to see professors interact with students and students interact with me, a visitor who had nothing to offer them.
I found out that my high school track coach, my high school principal, and my high school youth pastor all graduated from ACU, some of the top quality men in my life. And I was like, there's something to that.
I never would have thought that I would have been here. I definitely thought I would go to a state school, but as I got serious in my faith, I knew that I wanted to be somewhere that would encourage growth and maturity in the Christian faith, and so this just was just the perfect fit for that.
So I was praying for it and applying to different schools at the same time, but the only one that I visited was ACU. And when I came here, I was happy. I liked campus, but I was like, yeah, there's a small chance that I'll be here because I didn't have the finances to like go anywhere. And then God supplied through people that I've never met.
There is such an electric passion on this campus from the professors that care so deeply for serving the world around them and what they do. And I don't think it's an experience that I could get anywhere else.
I had the opportunity last semester to study abroad in Leipzig, Germany, and I think that experience just kind of goes to show the things that like similar things that are available at ACU, kind of experiences where professors draw you into something deeper than just what's happening in the classroom.
Recently, I did the leadership summit with the business department. It was the best thing that could have happened to me. Honestly, at ACU, it was a great experience. I loved getting to hear from different people who are in different fields, who are in the real world, how they still incorporate God in their daily lives, how God is really the center of their lives.
2 summers ago, I did Worldwide Witness. I went to Bulgaria with an organization called Josiah Venture, and I was there for 2.5 months, just doing youth camps, but also local ministry with and through the church. And so last year, actually, I had the opportunity while I was studying abroad. Since I was already in Europe, I just extended my stay and went back to Bulgaria for a month. And I think my favorite part of that was just getting to follow up and see those people again and say, hey, I really care about you. I wasn't here for a summer. I am invested in you as a person.
There are a lot of people who would have loved this opportunity. So your support, your input into the school, you're really making a difference in the world, and you're raising people, you're supporting people who hope that they can also make a difference in other people's lives.
I really love the community here. I think that it's very strong and it's very, what's the word? It's very obvious. There's a very strong sense of community here, and I think that's an amazing thing.
I'm just thankful that God's placed me here to be able to grow intellectually, but not only that, grow spiritually as well.
I think I've been prepared to meet the needs of my students, but also to love them well, because I myself have experienced it firsthand through the people that I've met and the experiences that I've had on campus.
So thank you so much, and God bless you.